Yeah, good morning. This is Bang Bang Ray Hill. A couple of my mates just phoned me up and said to me, "Listen, do you know it'd be good night you, eh? Big time Charlie Potatoes, Ray Hill." Yeah, big time Charlie Potatoes. Thanks, mate. It's lovely. I got up this morning. Someone sent me a message and said, "Ray, we was talking about you yesterday, mate, and you should be big time Charlie Potatoes." Yeah, nice one. Anyway, please push the like button, and subscribe. Yeah, years ago, I don't know if I put it on my podcast. I've got so many now. I forget, I've got 320 or 30 podcasts, so I forget. But we was talking yesterday. I was with a couple of my black mates, and I've always been around black guys. I don't know why, but it is. Even I love black girls. Anyway, and what's funny, we was talking about a mate of mine that I used to work with years ago. He's called Cuffy, and a very dangerous man. I mean, he was, as I say, this is early 70s, and he was dangerous, mate. I mean, it was a couple of us up at Labatt Grove, and when I say dangerous, I mean dangerous. See, I met him with a guy called Leslie McIntyre, and we was over Labatt Grove that way by the market, and see, bumped into this black guy, and then Leslie started talking to him, as Leslie did. He didn't know him, got to know this guy, and went round his house. Yeah, I mean, his house is now what worth, I don't know, 3 mil, 4 mil, even 10 mil. Some of these big places around the back of Labatt Grove, even more than that. Yeah, and he lived in a basement flat with his mum, sisters, and all that. But it was, when he walked in, it was pitch black, no lights, curtains hanging down, and all that, as cutting the rooms off. But the guy was a completely smart guy. The guy always looked crisp, always wore nice suits. In them days, it was the old Tonic Mohaires and the Prince of Wales check suits and all that, and the hats, and all that. Everybody looked good, yeah. Anyway, and me and him used to go to work, and we used to earn a few shillings, mate. Good workers, me and him together. And and his mum, a big woman, big powerful woman. She had a stall down the market, down at the market, selling fruits and vegetables and all that sort of thing, as they do, yams and all them sort of, all Jamaican food. And she run a club, yeah, called the Graveyard. It was a big club by our road there, by the graveyard there, the big Jewish graveyard. I think it's a Jewish graveyard, massive graveyard, yeah. And I don't know if it's Jewish, but I'm just surmising it is, because you can't get in the gaff. And anyway, there's all guys on the gates and all that. So I was just thinking it would be, it might not be, I might be wrong, yeah. But obviously, people out there will let me know. But there was a club near there called the Graveyard, and her mum run it, and it was a really nice club. Me and Les used to go out working. We used to come back there, and I was drinking, not much drinking, but drinking little bits of drink, and going down there playing pool in the basement, and it was okay. Met a few girls, black girls, and got involved. And this is when I liked black girls. I loved it, yeah. And a couple of times, me and Leslie, would go there late at night. The shebeens and all that in there, and anyway, so her mum, I'm in love with her. She said that they're having a bit of trouble there with a few people. Do you want to work here, Ray? I was about 20 something. I went, yeah, yeah, it'd be nice. White guy, one white guy with all, but, 200 black guys in there, downstairs, upstairs. I felt a bit uncomfortable, you know what I mean? Gonna get killed. But anyway, I took the job, and it was okay. It was just chucking them out, making sure everything's okay, drinks were picked up and all that, more like a barman really than anything. Picking up all the glasses and all that. And one day Leslie said to me, "Listen, we might have a bit of trouble soon, because there's a couple of guys down here that someone's looking for, and I've told these guys that this guy is looking for them, and they ain't really bothered. They're not too bothered at all. They said, yeah, well, if he comes, he comes. If he don't, he don't. But we don't want trouble down here. Leslie's saying." Leslie and Cuffy, because Leslie's working with us. Leslie's a bit of a handful in the old door, Leslie. You can have a right fight. And anyway, Leslie's saying, "See, look, we don't want it down there anyway." Cuffy's saying, "Look, we don't really want any trouble down there. Best thing you do is stay away." He said, they go, "No, no, no, we ain't going to cause no problems on us. If he comes down, we'll just go." Anyway, and about 3 weeks later, 4 weeks later, nothing, mate, nothing happened at all. And then one day we were down there, and all of a sudden Leslie's saying, "What was the aggravation?" Went downstairs, And this guy, black guy, big black guy with dreads, and his name is Dread actually. You know what I mean? He's I don't know what he's doing now with his life, or is he dead or alive? I ain't got a clue. But he put this guy. No, I'm not quite sure he got nicked for it or what, you know. But I think he did. I can't remember. But he pulled this black guy, one of the black guys, over the pool table and chopped his head off with a machete. When I say chopped his head off, he didn't chop his head right off. It was hanging on by the back of it, you know. And mate, the blood was everywhere. It's down there was like a bloodbath, you know, bloodbath. Me, Leslie, and my mate run upstairs, went up the stairs, told the mum, and we run out the door, and he's got his all his yardies with machetes and fuckers whatever chasing us down the road. And they can run, mate, and they can run. But believe me, when you think that someone's going to kill you, you can run too. You know what I mean? And I was running so hard that my feet weren't even touching the floor. On my life, my feet weren't even touching the floor, mate. I was like gone, yeah. And we run from there, right down the scrubs to the scrubs, past the scrubs, and I run home. I was living with my mum at the time. I went home to my mum's house. First of all, stopped off at Cuppy's house, had a drink, had a chat, and what's going to happen. And the next day, I went to see his mum, and his mum said, obviously it's true, isn't it? His mum's going to say, you know, the club's shut down. The police are shut it down now, the club's completely no longer a club. But I don't know if it is a club, I don't know if it stayed on as a club. We didn't get involved at all. She pulled away from it. We pulled away from it. A couple of times we drove by it, and it looks as if it was being done out, this, that, and the other. But I don't know if anybody knows that club down there, road called the Graveyard. Let me know, yeah. But me, Leslie, and Cuffy, we were still going. We're very game. Leslie McIntyre, his name's Sinclair Christie, good fighter, mate. Good welterweight. Can really bang. This guy can bang, mate. Every time I've seen him have a row, he just bangs them out, mate. Left hook, right across. He can knock men out of 18, 19 stone. I've seen him do it. He's only a welterweight, mate. And this guy can bang. And he's so wiry, you know what I mean? And listen, he's got a brother called, I think it's either Jeff or Clive McIntyre. I'm not quite sure. I think it's Jeffrey. I'm going to get a podcast now. It's Clive. But one of them got put away, got a indefinite sentence. And he was an handful, mate. He hated authority, hated the screws, hated them to death, mate. And he was fighting them 24/7. He didn't want to be in there, mate. Evidently he was not guilty of the charge he was charged with, and he got an indefinite sentence. And so, mate, it drove him a bit nutty. And he just hated authorities, didn't take the nuts what they said, and he was getting plenty of beatings, yeah. And right at the very end, when I say right at the very end, I think he got I'm not quite sure if it was an IPP he got, and I know it was an indefinite sentence, so it must have been an IPP. I think he'd done about 15 years, 14 years out of I think he got a 5 years IPP, something like that, or indefinite, or whatever it was. Yeah, it was a big sentence, and I think it's Jeffrey or Clive. I'm not quite sure. Anyway, I'll just say Jeffrey at this time, yeah. And it caused a lot of problems. They had a row with some screws, and he chinned a few screws, and they put him in a padded cell. And this guy is he's got a bad, his heart is a bit bad, you know, and they know this. They put him in a straitjacket, and they stamped all over this guy's chest and back and everything, his back. He couldn't move. They left him in a straitjacket. Couldn't move, couldn't breathe, and died. Down a unit. And the case has been going for quite a long time. I don't know what's happened to the case. I don't know if Jem McIntyre, his sister, she hasn't let me know anything about it. But I think there's a big case going on about it. They killed him, mate. They definitely killed him. And like I said before, and I say it again, they've done it to me. But if you want to play games in them gaffs, you can't win. It doesn't matter how big, how strong, how much power you got. Once you get in that prison, mate, once you go beyond that big door, and it's their world. It's their world. You got to remember them people in there. They ain't normal people, mate. and the ones that work down the units and these medical screws, they're the worst ones in the world. Obviously, we've got someone on our podcast on YouTube that does all this. He's ex-medical screw. He talks. I mean, I've listened to a couple of his podcasts. Okay, he's all right. What he talks about, but he is a medical screw, and he has done some damage to a lot of people. He talks about it as if, it's not. It isn't anything. Just jab him up the bum, or jab him in the arm, or jab him in the neck, and the ligatures and all them sort of things, and they're gone. Yeah, and it just longs them out, and then become addicted to it. And he what he does. He likes what he does. He likes what he does. He said he was in there 30 years, 20 years, jabbing up people, hurting people. You can imagine what people go through when they're being jabbed up and they can't do nothing about it. And their screws are steaming into you, bashing you up. And people actually go on visits. Usually they're closed visits, and they put them in a white suit. Honestly, a white suit, and you go on a visit, a glass position one side, sit there, and they're sitting and they're monged out. You can imagine what the visitor's like, going crazy. But the authorities don't really care about all that. You're in there and you're under their control, yeah. And and I've seen a lot of people go through a lot of pain with that. We all think that we're the boss in there. We ain't the boss. They let us be the boss for a little while until they've had enough of you, and then they come in, 6, 7, 8-handed, run in, cost you up, and you're on the floor, and that medical screw, the one that's got the YouTube line, and they just comes in and bump, jabs you up, and you're monged out, and they just kick you all around the gaff. There's not a thing you can do about it. And you wake up in a padded cell, smashed to pieces, you don't know where you are, and all of a sudden you're addicted. You're addicted to it in a way because you need it again. And they jab you up again, a day, maybe you could be asleep for a week, or monged out for a week, you don't know where you are. But now you know that this thing they're giving you, it's making you do your sentence. You're waking up, and you went in there on the 5th, and you monged out until the 15th. And all of a sudden you realise, crikey, this thing's okay for me, you know what I mean? It mongs me out and do my bird very easy like this. And all of a sudden you're addicted to it, you're taking it every day. You go down to the centre, you get your little cap, boom, or they come in your cell and they give you it, yeah? And it's what they do 24/7, and they like to mong people out. So, I've learnt my lesson. I ain't going back in prison, mate, no way. I'm going to stay up now, mate. I've had enough of it. Prison's for mugs, in a way. I mean, it's a business. It's a big business for who it is. Home Office, government. It's a big business. It's never going to stop. It's never ever going to stop. I mean, it's a billionaire business. I mean, I believe personally myself that drugs are brought in from in this country through authorities like governments and police and all them sorts of things, and it's brought in, it's allowed to come in, and it's spread about, and it gives them a job. It keeps them in work, mate. It keeps them in work, and then they've got a special firm that goes about that are on your case maybe for 2 years, 3 years, and they're watching, and all of a sudden one day they go through your door. We've all had it, I've had it. Everything, and give you a great big confiscation order, and they've got enough evidence there to sink a boat, yeah. And you ain't got that to stand on. They got all your phones. I've got pals now. My mate Matty, he lives not far from where I live now, Harefield, and nice guy. Got an 18 stretch, 18 years over a phone. Over a mobile phone, mate. These mobile phones that supposed to be encrypted. They got into them. They got hold of someone. They got into these phones, and everybody was nicked. I think there was about 50, 60 people nicked. They got absolute millions of pounds got loads of drugs, and they got people got lots of bird, and they got big confiscation orders where they got to pay that as well. I mean, anything they do, they can just do it. I mean, all our phones, your phone, my phone, every phone you've got something in it. Uh, Any time they can log into your phone and listen to exactly what you're saying. I'm a strong believer they do it with the television as well. I used to be one of my best pals ever was a guy called Michael Gooch. He lived in Chigwell, and he also lived in a gaff called Snaresbrook, opposite Snaresbrook Crown Court. But the gaff in Chigwell was absolutely fantastic. And every time I went to see him, he'd pull the cable out the phone, but on the wall. He'd pull it out, and then he'd put a big towel around it, because it's not so much pulling. Everyone's pull the cable out and that'd be it. But no, it's no point in just pulling the cable out of the phone, because that phone there transmits and receives. So if it transmits and receives, just by putting that thing, it can hear you whatever you're saying. It's the same difference, yeah. So I used to put a towel around it when we used to talk, and he learnt me a lot, Mickey Gooch. I mean, I loved him to death. Me and him fell out over me being on crack cocaine, me being a complete out and out arsehole. But that's what happens in life. I mean, to go on crack was one of the worst things I ever did. At that time, I thought it was fantastic. How I didn't die, I don't know, because there's lots of times where I thought I was going to die, where I took too much, and I was snowballed once. Someone snowballed me. That means they're putting heroin with the crack, and they give me that, and I nearly went, mate. How people take that all the time, I ain't got a clue. I mean, I just took it. I mean, really, I didn't take a lot of it. I took enough of it, obviously, you know what I mean? But I was more interested in the women that were taking it. The old mind goes a bit naughty, and that was what I was interested in, you know what I mean? But they was nicking more than they was nicking it off me more than anything. I mean, if I was to buy £500 worth, you bet I would smoke 50 quid's worth, you know what I mean? They'd nick the rest, but that's what it's all about. We let it go. But for 8 years of it, I must have been addicted to it, without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, 8 years, every day, 7 days a week, maybe have a kip, have a sleep for 4 days solid, yeah, and then wake up, not even in a bath, not even on wash, not even brush your teeth. So you can imagine what you're like, can't you? So it got to that stage, and now and again, you go back to being a human being, where you go to a spa or sauna bath and get it all out your system, and get a good massage. You go down Paddington and get a proper massage down there, Swedish bath, Turkish bath, or whatever it is. Go down there, have it all, and then we come out there as new as anything, you know. And then all of a sudden, 2 or 3 days later, you meet someone, and you go back on the crack, and then it starts all over again, and then you're doing fortunes. I mean, I ain't getting no money now. I'm straight. I don't get no money. I'm just my book is my thing. My book and my life, you know. I've got a good life story. My book's going to be fantastic. But, you know, like, we all miss them good times. We all miss having, you know, like in your hip, having like 3, 4, 5 grand in your hip, walking around, buying what you want to buy, going to the shops. This morning I see a thing on the podcast where the big guy, I forget his name, I think he's a wrestler or something, a bald head, all tattoos, powerful guy, always trains. And there he is, walking through a store with about 10 bags, and his wife's in front with no bags. And I've had all that. We've all had that, haven't we? We've all gone to the store, people with money that takes the wife out, and she spends fortunes, and you're there carrying maybe 10 bags. It's like that film, Pretty Woman, but instead of Pretty Woman carrying the bags, you're carrying the bags. So I miss all that. I miss having that money in my pocket. I miss going out shopping. I miss spoiling the people that I'm with. But one day, the book, maybe a film, maybe a series, Netflix or whatever it will be. If it's going to be, it's going to be. It could be a fantastic series, my love story. And then maybe I'll hit the front again and go forward. In a minute, my mate Terry has just bought a boat from Spain. I think he paid about 580 grand for this boat. It's being made up in Spain. Then they transport it back to England. Then it gets docked off at Chichester, and then they fix it all up, put it all together inside, do it all up, and then me and Terry are going to go down there and take the boat across back to Southampton. I mean, this boat is absolutely fantastic. It's a yacht, really. I mean, it's got the engine, but it's a yacht in a way because it's a 6 berth. It's unbelievable. I mean, I'll be on that a lot of times with him, going all along the coast and all that. And the boat's unbelievable. I've asked quite a few people if they want to come on it. But people, obviously, people that only Terry knows, and myself. Other people have no chance. You know, I mean, this boat is absolutely out of this world. I've been on the other boat that he had before that. He paid about 300 grand for that one, and that was fantastic. This one is a 40 what I don't know 40 what do you call it? I don't know. You got that name for it. It's but it's 40 whatever it is. It's 40. It's the speed of it, yeah, and 40 knots. That's right, 40 knots, and that's fast. I mean, I remember when I first so he took me down to Southampton to the Keys where he's got the boat. Get on the boat. I'm not into the water. I don't like water at all. All things happened to me as a kid that fit the life out of me with water, especially dark water. So I'm a bit frightened of it, even though I could swim. And anyway, got on the boat, zitting about, drove out the Keys, and then he opened it up. And what he done, he left the back door of the boat open. So he said, well, get out there, and I shut the door. As I went to shut the door, he put it in thing. The front lifted up the water, down it went. I nearly shot out the back of it, yeah? Mate, if I'd have shot out the back of it, I'd have died, you know what I mean? I mean, we was like going to the Isle of Wight, and Terry was telling me there's something just outside the Isle of Wight, about a mile out, I think it is. And at certain times of the year, when the water goes down or whatever, this island lifts up, and you got all grass on it, and you can play cricket on it. It's what, I don't know, a mile square. Check it out. If you don't believe me. It comes up and they play cricket on it, yeah? It's the truth. And they open that up and it's got big buoys around it that you can't go nowhere near it, you know what I mean? But it does frighten your life out, because when Terry was putting the speed back and really going into one, it was lifting up. I jumped in there and he couldn't see over the top of the boat. I mean, the boat was nose right up in the air. He's only tiny, isn't he? What's he, 5'3", 5'4"? Well, maybe a little bit smaller, I think. Anyway, Carlos, and there he's in the boat, revving it up. Front's right up in the air. I was petrified, mate. I was looking over the top, you know, thinking, but he says he knows the water. He sees it before. He knows how fast the boat can go. But I'm thinking to myself, I say a submarine comes up or whatever, you know. And we're near Portsmouth, and Portsmouth Harbour, around that manner. And you've got to be very careful. He was telling me about one day he was revving up the boat and going along, all of a sudden a big submarine come up. You know, imagine that thing. It'd frighten the life out of you, wouldn't it? Just coming up that water would be like a big wow. You know, and anyway, so a couple of times I've been in the boat with him. We've gone to the Isle of Wight. I mean, that's when I went to the Isle of Wight and took pictures of Parkhurst, Camp Hill and Albany. That was good, you know. I mean, when I went to Camp Hill, and I took pictures, the old screws come around, floating around in their motor saying you shouldn't be here, you shouldn't be taking pictures of the gap. And I go, oh, mate, whatever. You know, I mean, I'm not in prison no more, see you later, go on, fuck off. Didn't say F off or nothing, I apologise for even swearing on the channel, yeah. But anyway, so they shut off and then we had to go because we knew that, you know, they're going to come back from the old build that were taking pictures. But the greatest thing, my mate that I was with, he had one of them, what you call it, what's them things that fly about, drones. He had a little drone with a camera, and I was dying. I was said to him, please, you know, drone Camp Hill, go over it and look at the pictures. But he said, no, if they done that, mate, that you get warning for that, you know what I mean? But what I wanted to do was take pictures, drone it, and then put on YouTube. What a good place to send all these illegal people that come over on the boats, and or not illegals, just come over on the boats. You know, send them there to Camp Hill, and until they can sort somewhere else to put them. Not bring them across and put them straight into hotels. you know, but proper hotels. I mean, I know this girl was telling me that she's head of some security company in Birmingham, and they're living in big hotels out there, proper hotels, Holiday Inns and hotels and all these sort of big hotels out there, and and they're putting noodles into teapots and all that. And she said a couple of times we've gone in there and there's a fire. They've been having little fires in the middle of the hotel in the bedroom. Yeah, cooking. I mean, come on, mate. It's what's going on. You know what I mean? And you get the Holiday Inn and people like that, right? They're still open for business. You've got maybe 60, 70 people in there, uh, foreigners coming across the channel. They're putting them up in the hotel free. Don't have to pay nothing. And yet people that want to come in the hotel, certainly the hotels are closed off for them yet, but people that want to come in, you've got to pay. You got to pay £150 a night. Why are you got to pay and they don't pay nothing? It's a madness, isn't it? You know what I mean? And they give a mobile phone. She's telling me that they get everyone that comes here, they give them a mobile phone. I think she said they give them something like £200 a week to live on. I mean, come on. You got people that in the army, ex people military, that were on the streets with their dogs, and they ain't getting nothing, mate. They don't even get an hotel. Something's got to be done. The government must be getting fortunes out of this. They must be getting something like, what, I don't know, what, £1 million a head? They're getting something, mate, from wherever they're getting it from, for all these people to come. There's no way in a million years they're letting all these people come across that water, across the channel, for nothing. Come on. They go to the other side, people waiting for them, put them in the big coaches, taking them to hotels, taking them here, taking them until they can find them, right, a home, 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, even a 3 bedroom place. There's places in the city, right, that they're living. They're living in big houses that that you couldn't even afford, you know, and they're putting them in there, and yet even people like myself, when I come out of prison, I lived in the hostel, couldn't get nowhere. People like myself, people like who've been in the army, who are on the streets. Being on the streets, there's kids on the streets, you know, that can't even get a flat, can't even go nowhere to live, and on the street, you know. And yet, listen, I ain't against black people or foreign nationals as such, yeah, because I like black girls and people like my mates are blacks, yeah. But these foreign nationals are coming across, yeah, they're causing plenty of aggravation. They're coming over here. They're causing more problems than enough. You can't. I mean, certain areas you go to, they just took it over. They completely took the areas over. I was living in Harrow. I went back there the other day, mate. I couldn't believe it. Honestly, I couldn't believe it. Everybody in there, white, black, pink, this is all foreign nationals. You can't even. You're not even. You're talking your language, and no one really knows what you're talking about. And yet you were born in this country, and you can't even have a conversation. You know, you're walking up. I mean, I remember the other week when I was in Harrow in the shopping centre. Yeah, I swear this, right. And there were people ordering meals, right, ordering meals, and getting people to come over who actually spoke the same language as them. They're sitting down, ordering the food, and calling someone over that speaks the same language as them to take the order. Come on, if you're in this country, you've got to speak our language. You know, come on, you couldn't go out to their country and get what we give them. I mean, I don't give them nothing. I wouldn't give them anything anyway. There's only kids. Unless it was kids, yes, but I wouldn't give them nothing. I mean, I've seen vans pull up, and maybe what 8, 10 people get out of the van. One woman with no arm, one with a dodgy leg, or an old woman 60, 70 years of age, all buckled up, and they're going in begging. They're going begging. So they're doing this in every town, every roadway. You know, when you go down the road you go down there to a red set of red lights. A guy comes up, starts washing your car, or give you some roses and all this, that, and the other, yeah. And they want money off you. They're beggars, mate. They're begging off us, right? And then going back, giving all the money to these people, and then these people, yeah, are buying big houses, are buying houses. You know, I mean, come on. The best people that are ever around was when Armin, I think it was South Africa, was it? Or Africa, I'm not quite sure, one of them countries, where he chucked all the Asian people out of his country and they come to this country, yeah? And then what did they do? They done the exact same things while this soldier. They all stuck together. Mind you, they're not lazy. They're not lazy like these other ones that come over. Indians and Pakistanis, all them people, yeah? Sri Lankans, they're not lazy people, yeah? They buy a shop and they work 24/7 until they've got enough money together to buy a place, yeah? But they're workers. I don't knock them. They graft, they work. Southall's their country. It is their country, even though it's only a town, it's still their country in a way. But they work. They graft 24/7. They're open all the time. You couldn't open a shop 24/7, but they can. But they work. They graft. They're entitled to what they get, yeah? They're grafters. But anyway, I could go on and on and on. I started about of my mate Cuffy and Dregs and all them sort of things. I've gone crazy now. But it's true, you know. Anyway, please press the like button and subscribe and have a nice day. As it happens Saturday, I think it's this Saturday, I got doing a big podcast about us men who don't get to see their kids because of the wife or the girlfriend doesn't like you no more, so she goes to court, has a little tear, and the judge stop you having the children, stop you seeing the kids.